Looking through our album the other night, I thought how lucky we are. Here's our house in Melbourne. We live right on the boulevard. There's the rich velvety green of Yarra Bend Golf Course over the way. And down below, the old Yarra. It's lovely strolling along there of a summer's evening, you know. And all just a few minutes' ride from the heart of the city. Collins Street, the loveliest street in Australia. Then there are all our parks and gardens. The Botanic Gardens are only an easy walk from Collins Street, nice and handy when you want to get away from all the city's noise and bustle. All over Melbourne there are great open spaces where you can relax or maybe get rid of that surplus energy. Go out 3 miles by tram and you strike St Kilda. There are nearly 100 miles of bayside beaches stretching away on either side of the city. But for all that, when holidays come around, you want a change of scene. And it's easy enough to get. Practically any holiday resort in the state is within 200 miles. Just a few hours on the train, and you're there. Our Victorian trains are jolly comfortable too, but a casual cup of tea or a really good dinner does help to pass the time. Even the magnificent Mount Buffalo Plateau, looking out towards the Australian Alps, is only a few miles over the 200 from Melbourne. Here's a snap of our Pam at Buffalo, her very first time on skis. Well, we all have to learn, I suppose. Pam learnt in the ski school that's run in conjunction with the Buffalo Chalet. Like everything else, gently does it at the start. Yes, snow and sunshine and blue-green mountains capped with snow certainly make a picture. Now, skiing isn't nearly so easy as it looks, you know. But after a few seasons, Pam could go up with the best of them. And she didn't do too badly coming down either. There's Franz Scadarazzi, the chief instructor, leading some of his more advanced protégés in a downhill run. Franz comes from the Austrian Tyrol. Whoops! Oh, I could see that coming. The sugary crunch underfoot, the screech of the hickories, the wind thundering in your ears. And Pam eats like a horse after a day on the snow. Pam, who's so fussy about her figure. But I suppose she balances things up, dancing half the night. How she keeps it up, I'm blessed if I know. Sometimes, of course, conditions mightn't be so good for skiing, but there's always plenty of fun at the chalet. And anyway, you're not likely to get tired of just looking at the glorious mountain scenery, which makes Buffalo a perfect holiday spot any time in the year. Not that the only magnificent mountain scenery in Victoria is at Buffalo. The Grampians over in the western part of the state aren't so high, but they're more rugged with great beetling cliffs. Young Phil and the gang camped there last year. As a matter of fact, that's where he met Betty. They're engaged now, of course. It was spring and, well, you know how it is. There's no place like the Grampians in the spring. Wildflowers, and they're a sight, believe me, splashing their colour everywhere. And the great towering bastions of rock floating against the sky. The deepest, bluest sky you've ever seen. Say, just listen to me getting all poetic. Still, those cliffs are romantic enough at any time. But in the spring, well, you can understand how it was with Phil and Betty wandering around together among all that scenery. Maybe they weren't formally introduced, but we're glad it happened. Betty's a darn nice girl, and she's going to make Phil a good wife. They're getting married next year, by the way. Rocks and romance. It's funny, you know, the way you always associate romance with cruises and not crags. Well, it's just one of those... Oh, yes, talking of cruises, the old folk went on a cruise not so long ago. They weren't in the least seasick, drifting down the Murray on the Coonawarra. Once the Murray was a great commercial highway, along which the paddle steamers with their trains of barges brought wool to Echuca from all over the Riverina. You can still see some of the old steamers here and there. It was quite a job navigating a biggish boat along that narrow winding river. Still is, come to that. It certainly takes plenty of skill to steer the tourist boat Coonawarra. Now, she's the largest powered craft that has ever run on the Murray. As the skipper will tell you over a sociable drink, Australia's Old Man River has enough twists and turns to break a snake's back. He'll tell you some colourful tales of the old days, too. For every reach, every bend of the river has a name. And behind every name, there's a story. There's Screwjack Bend and Screamo Bend, Bunyip Reach and Settler's Bend, Kelpie's Leap, Jeremiah Lump, Princess Rocks, Wiradjuri Reef. Well, there are some colourful names if you like. Oh, tucker time again. Funny how you're looking forward to the next meal all the time when you're on holiday. If you love boats, you'll find the Murray paddle steamers have a character and charm all their own. Personally, I'm crazy about boats, always have been. Any sort of boat, big or small. I get a terrific lot of fun just poodling around in a dinghy at Lake's Entrance. Lake's Entrance. Now there's a great place for small boats if you like. The Gippsland Lakes cover 150 square miles of waters protected from the sea's changeable moods. You can sail, or there's this. I know a chap who went ballast with one of these boys in a race. He cracked a couple of ribs and gave up trying to count the bruises. Through the entrance come boats that have sailed all the way down from Melbourne, right around Wilson's Promontory, the southernmost point of the Australian mainland. Along the front, you'll find boats of every sort and shape and size. It's a great place to be afloat, to feel a boat like a live thing, throbbing and surging beneath you. By the way, there's good fishing to be had at the lakes, too. As a matter of fact, all Victoria is a fisherman's joy. You can actually get a sizable trout in the Yarra just below our house. But when I go fishing, I like a crystal stream where the water ripples over the pebbles and the trees whisper among themselves. Reg, that's my brother, he likes to go up around Warburton. But I like a place where you really feel away from it all. Like the little Cumberland River down Lawn way. Not bad, Reg. I've had better bags from the Cumberland, though. Only a 3-mile stroll along the Great Ocean Road to Lawn, on the wide sweep of Lutit Bay. There are some beautiful wide beaches along that road, and they never get as crowded as the metropolitan beaches. Nice sand, too, and it's as bright as new silver. We used to go to Lawn every year when the family was small. Now, Pam shoots off to Buffalo, Phil goes off camping with the gang. This year, young John went off on his own for the first time. He brought this snapback from Marysville. Marysville is only about 60 miles out, but it nestles in the mountains of the Great Dividing Range. If you like, you can ride up into the tall timber. John had never ridden before, but to hear him talk after that holiday, you'd think he'd been born in the saddle. Anyway, he did get up among some of the tallest timber in the world, the proud mountain ash. Oh, strikes me he was interested in more than trees, too. Still, I suppose you'd get a crick neck looking up at those fellas all the time. Now, this mountain ash is the tallest tree in Australia, 301 feet high. Well, I'd like to show you some more snaps from our holiday album, but, well, I think they're waiting to show another film. So I'll have to say, so long, folks. Happy holidays.